With our curve cuts made in the side of the boat, we're going to need something to fill this in with, and so we've taken a piece of 1/8 inch plywood and built ourselves a couple of insert pieces to slide in here to make sure that the boat stays up to its minimum hull thickness. And these fit pretty nicely into these spaces, and we've basically trimmed them down so that there's not a whole lot of excess sticking off the top, because we're going to end up having to hand sand this back down into the to the level of our profile, and we don't want to intentionally make ourselves more work than we have to. I think our pre-routing out these sides and cleaning them up was actually a really good thing to do, because it made fitting these very nice, very easy to deal with. And as you can see, when we grab a hold of them, the bending capacity of this is actually very good. It comes right around our molds nicely. Now all we have to do is clamp things in place for that part. Before we begin to glue any of this together, let's take a look at what it actually takes to build a boat like this. And here you can see what some of these processes are. Here, of course, is the side with the curve cut insert in place. All the process of some pretty tedious trial and error, fit, refit, 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 until it's just about perfect. And here we have what amounts to the completed construction for this, with our already dry fitted clamping system in place, where we will actually be putting it, already located, already screwed down a few times until it was as close as we could get it to where it needed to be. Here is our stern post, our stern block, that's been carefully fitted so that when this is all down, we will have a minimum amount of sanding to do with the block sander after we fit the pieces together. All of these components have already been fitted a number of times until we were as close to being perfect with them as we could be. Once again, following our plan, here's some more of the components, each one carefully hand fitted into its position. I'll get back a little here so you can see the full Monty. Basically, this is what the structure for the bow is like. This is the cockpit bulkhead that goes at the forward end. We do not have our steering post assembly completed. There are a couple of members there and on the bottom, and then a small block that accepts the post sitting in the top of this. This is the assembly that we will be using for our mast step. It gets sides on it, in this particular instance, on a plywood that come up and box this entire structure in when we're completed. This is our mast step. This will sit on top of it. This is the forward bulkhead that will go up against this and get glued to it at its appropriate position. Here are the stringers that run down, very lightweight construction, and plywood bulkheads, a couple of them. These stringers will end up inserting into the back end of our assembly for our nose block, all of which has been carefully located, carefully hand fit, and is positioned so that it's relative to the critical measurements for our design. In this case, the steering block, it sits right on top, dead center on the steering post, where most of the measurements are made from. And we'd like to think that we have a pretty close fit. Each component's been marked on the side of the boat, and with a little tweaking we can get things to sit right where they need to be. Our dry fitting has resulted in having our clamp already pretty much set up and ready to go, so that when we begin to assemble all of these components, we can put them into place with a minimum amount of effort and hopefully a maximum amount of accuracy.